Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Edith and I like to read books and yap about them to you guys. And the sun is shining. I just wanted to say that because I needed to point it out. The sun is in fact shining straight in my eyes, but you know, it's shining all the same, and I refuse to not be in the sun when it is finally shining after months. What feels like months since we've seen the sun last. But welcome to the first episodes of the shelf sessions, in which I try to read all the books on this cart and put them on my bookshelves. And to help us do that, I have made my own little TBR jar, which has a bunch of prompts in it. From a prompt, we will pick a book from here, read it, and get it on these shelves. Now that we filmed an intro where you guys could see me, we're gonna film the rest of this with this cap on so my eyes don't die. So, before we get on with my day today, let's pick the first book. I did just add some new ones in today, and unfortunately, because of the colors, you can tell which are new. But we will blindly, because the sun is in my eye, blindly pick one. Ooh, there are two. Which one do you go with when you have two? I think we're gonna grab the one my thumb is holding. It's a short one. I hope you guys can see. Ooh, wait. Oh no. Me and Scout are not best friends when it comes to stuff like this. And also, Scout is on my phone, which means I can't film my reaction, which means I kind of hate it. Also, Scout, I have a list with my physical TBR, but Scout can only pick from your want to read list, and my want to read list also has my Kindle Unlimited TBR and my Kindle TBR, but we will go in on Scout. I will video screen it, put it up here. How you do it, in case you don't know what Scout is, if you have an app to like measure all your reading with, that's what I use Fable for. And on Fable, there's this little AI bird called Scout. Now, I'm not a big fan of AI, but for this, I think it's okay to, you know, get it done. But Scout is this little AI bird helper thing, and if you go in on your want to read list, you can make Scout pick a book from there. And then he will give you 3 picks, he'll give you one, and then you can be like, show me the next pick, and stuff like that. So, I'm gonna open up Scout right now and figure out which book. I'm gonna keep going with Scout until it picks a book from here, but the first book that is on here, my physical TBR that it picks, we will be reading as our first book. So, as you guys could see on Scout, their first pick was in fact Welcome to Dead House, which is a Goosebumps book, which is tiny, but you know what, maybe we'll just do multiple books, like 4 books in a video, depending on how long the other books end up being. In case you missed it, I recently read a Goosebumps book to try and get out of a reading slump, which I'm not sure I'm out of that reading slump. So maybe a quick, easy book will be The Fix. This is shorter than the other one. Oh my god, yeah. This one is 132 pages, which is like 10 something pages shorter than the other one, and the other one I read in literally an hour. So, maybe this will be like a quick little book we'll finish this afternoon. Honestly, could totally do that, and then we could pick another one later today. See, now this lighting is great. God, I have missed lighting. Like, I feel like I look better than I've done in the last few videos, and it's all thanks to the sun. I am back from my walk, in case you can't tell, and it was lovely. It wasn't that long, but like, I think at least 30-minute walk. And now we're home, we're changed into some comfy clothes, and we're going to start. Actually, we're not going to start. We're going to read this book. I literally have told myself I cannot get up from here unless I like have to go to the bathroom until I'm done with this book. And like I said, it is more, it's like 13, yeah, it's 13 pages shorter than the previous book. And the previous book, if you missed the video of me trying to get out of a slump, I read another Goosebumps book in that one, and it took me literally an hour and 3 minutes in one sitting. So, hoping that we fly through this one just as much, and that it is just as like quick, easy, and entertaining. And that we then, while there's still some light out, hopefully can sit down and pick our next like book. Let's sit here for about an hour. Obviously not gonna film the entire hour, but let's sit here for about an hour and read Welcome to Dead House. That's the first book of this video done. It did take me, like I said, about an hour. Honestly, I don't have the exact time because last time I started the like same ambiance that I use today, so I was in the middle of it, and I'm not sure like how long it played and stuff like that, but about an hour. And we're done with our first book, and this was really interesting. I don't know if maybe it's just because I have never seen this episode, which I did find both the episodes. Apparently this is a two-parter, which very exciting. I found a YouTube video that has them both combined, but I really enjoyed this. I don't know why I needed to add 3 reallys. I really like this. I think we're landing on a 3.75 because I feel like I gave the other ones I read a 3.5, I think, which were Welcome to Camp Nightmare and Say Cheese and Die, which I've seen both those episodes, love both those episodes, and therefore I kind of knew what was going to happen, but I think it really helped for this that I didn't know what was going to happen, but I also feel like it was just so much more atmospheric than the other ones. I mean, not so much more, because I think it's one of the things R.L. Stine just does so amazingly, is the atmosphere, but the atmosphere in this was just even more terrifying than I feel like they were in the normal ones. So, really enjoyed this one, and so far, probably one of my favorite Goosebumps books I've read so far. That does mean that it is time already to pick our next book. I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm straight out of a reading slump with this. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I am out of my reading slump yet. But for the first time in so long, I have a book I really want to read. And obviously that happens the minute I decide I have to film a reading vlog, so we'll hope to get a prompt we can fit to that book, and if we don't, then maybe it's just the universe way of telling me I don't need to read that book right now. So let's dig around in here and bring up this one, I think. This is one of the new ones, and I already don't remember what I wrote on them, but you guys get to see it first if you can see it. Can you see it better than I can? Book you bought on a whim. I feel like I had specific books in mind when I was writing that one. And I know I did. Let me look through here to see. I guess I would say I only really have 2. Or technically only one of them was really out on a whim, if we're being completely honest. Lucky was one of them, but Lucky I actually saw in a bookstore, never heard anything about it, read the back, and I was like, ooh, sounds interesting, but I'm trying not to buy books just because, you know, just because they're on sale, and this was on sale. And then I came back a second time while it was still on sale, and I picked it up again, and I was like, okay, but it sounds really interesting. And I still didn't buy it. And then all of a sudden the sale wasn't going on anymore, and the book wasn't anywhere to be found, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then one day me and my mom were at the bookshop. I had bought something inside of it, went outside, and then on a stand outside, this was there on sale again. And I was like, it has to be a sign. This is the third time I've seen this, and like it's come back after I've thought about the fact that I regret not buying it. It is another really short book, and like I said, it wasn't really on a whim. It would have been on a whim if I bought it the first time, but I really thought about it. So the only one I would really say fits this is honestly All That's Left in the World, which I keep calling this All That's Left at the End of the World. Don't know why I want it to have that long of a title. Which I genuinely don't know why I bought this. I bought it in New York, that much I remember, and I was on like a spur. Like I just grabbed books left and right, but I feel like most of them made sense. This one is about Jamie and Andrew, who are strangers, and they're two of the last people alive. So it's like an apocalyptic world. Jamie lives alone in a cabin in the woods. So when he meets injured Andrew, he's compelled to help. As they step into this strange new world together, their friendship begins to feel like something more. So it's like an apocalyptic gay romance. Sounds kind of interesting. And it is the only one I would say on my shelf that is fully just like bought on a whim. So yeah, let's give this one a try. Let's read. I have to look at the title to make sure I'm saying it right. All That's Left in the World by Eric J. Brown. It's also by a man. I don't read enough books by men. Well, I mean, I think I read enough books by men. I just don't read that many of them, but it's fine with me. So let's go right ahead and read All That's Left in the World by Eric J. Brown. I think it is officially time for a little reading update. It has been a couple of days and I am officially halfway. I think a little bit over halfway. We're 183 pages into it. And I read a bunch in it yesterday, and I am hoping to finish it maybe today, at the very least tomorrow, because tomorrow I have no other plans. And I am really, really enjoying this book. If I dare say, it is making me feel like myself again. It's quick, it's easy, it's enjoyable. In case you don't know, it is a like YA, technically it's a YA romance, but it's like set in an apocalyptic world, but it's not like zombies and stuff. It's more like the coronavirus, but if it had been like 10 times worse and basically all of the American citizens are dead because that's how this author, among other, thinks America might handle something like this. And basically these two kids meet each other. One of them has like a cabin he stays at, which the other one then comes upon after getting himself hurt, and he ends up getting to stay, and now they're then going through the United States on foot together to do something. I'm not going to say exactly what because I feel like it's kind of a spoiler, but I'm really, really enjoying this. I mean, for one, really, really enjoying the cute little romantic aspect, but I'm also enjoying, like, the world building of it all, and, like, I don't know. The idea that it's an apocalyptic book, but it's more of a believable one, which is a little bit terrifying to think about, but all in all, I'm just really enjoying this book, and I cannot wait to read more in it, so that's what we're gonna do right now. Alright, you guys, it is the next day. It's the morning, so I'm in, like, workout clothes because we did a workout this morning, and I am about to go take a shower, but I finished this book yesterday. I don't know if I said it in the update that I was like, I wanted to finish it either yesterday or today because I don't have school today, but somehow I just flew through 100 pages, like, in the middle of, or like the afternoon, and then at night I had 50 pages left and I sat down and I was like, we're finishing these 50 pages right now. And I love this book. I mean, I feel like love is such a big word. It's not a 5-star. I gave it a 4-star. But this book is gonna mean so much to me because I read this book while slowly starting to feel like myself again. The sun has been out for a few days now. The weather report says it's gonna stop being below 0 and start being above 0 degrees, which means the snow is gonna melt. It means that spring is coming. So I've also started crocheting again because it's been a while. I ordered some yarn because I have some projects I want to make with it, and I started another spring-ish project, which all of that crochet stuff will be in a future video, probably next Saturday if everything goes to plan, but otherwise the next Saturday again. So subscribe and stick around for that. But back to the book, because this plays such a big role in why I've been feeling like myself again. First of all, I flew through this book in 3 days, and I don't remember the last time I read a book that quickly. That's a lie. I read The Do-Over in 2 days, but I don't want to think about The Do-Over because that book sucked ass. I'm so sorry to any Lynn Painter lover out there. I can't do it. It's not for me, but that's not what this is about. This is about this book, which I could do. This was just so cute, quick, and easy while also having immense amount of depth to it. Depth to it. Death. Not death. Depth to it. I think I very quickly yesterday in the clip that I filmed, which was 2 minutes or something, really quickly went over what it's about. So obviously, like, there are a lot of sad moments because these two people have lost every person in their lives and now they found each other. And I just thought it was so cute, and I did love the way it was like an accurate representation of what I think would happen if, like, a virus like the coronavirus happened, but, like, worse. Like, so much worse. Like, we're talking almost everybody in America dying. Kind of bad. And just, like, I mean, I love stuff like The Walking Dead and stuff like that, so I love, like, the apocalyptic sort of world and, like, the idea of, like, what happens to us people when the world ends, that sort of thing. And I feel like this did such a great commentary on that, and it did have some scenes had me on, like, the edge of my seat, so invested. I felt so deeply for these two characters, and I'm so happy for them. And honestly, I can't tell you guys enough to, like, read this if you're looking for a cute, quick little romance, but where romance isn't, like, a huge, like, the biggest part of the plot. And that's what I really liked about this romance. Like, it felt so believable. And yeah, basically, I feel like myself again, and for some reason this made me want to read more romance again. And I have missed romance. I have missed wanting to read romance, if that makes any sense. So all in all, this was such a great read. I'm so happy that I read it. I'm so happy that first of all, that we got another book off of this, but also just that I read this specific book, because I feel like it hasn't been one of the ones I've been like gravitating towards, if that makes sense. And now it gets to go up here on my little LGBTQ shelf with some of my other favorite books ever. This was so cute. I loved it, and I'm in such a great mood. I have such high spirits, and I think the winter sadness kind of thing is slowly going away. And I think this book had a big part to play in that. So that does also mean we're going to pick another book now. And while we're reading this next book, I will edit this video to see how long it gets, to figure out if we need to read a fourth book or if the video is already long or whatever is going on. But let's pick our next read. I have hopes. So let's dig around down here. Grab one. I'm scared. I'm so scared right now. Okay. What does it say? Fiction or something? General fiction. It literally just says general fiction. So it just has to be a general fiction book. Okay. I didn't put this very nicely. It has to be like this. I actually also organized this, which I filmed yesterday. So now we have nonfiction, general fiction, classics, romance, thrillers, and horror and stuff like that. And then in the back we have my fantasy books. So general fiction is from here to here. These two are kind of historical fictions, but I would put them under general fiction, and then like historical fiction is a subgenre under general fiction in my eyes. But I don't think I want to read another Kristen Hanna book this early, and I'm definitely not in the mood to read The Book Thief. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close I'm saving for September because it's about 9/11. I just put these Taylor Jenkins Reid books, both of them on my, actually I think I put one of them on my spring TBR and one of them on my summer TBR, but like, yeah. I feel like I've been hearing so much about this one, but this one is on my yearly TBR. So I'm like, which one am I more in the mood for? These are just two so different books. This is Hannah, who has no idea what she wants to do with her life. She heads to Los Angeles with her best friend Gabby. They go to a bar, and Ethan, her high school boyfriend, ends up offering her a ride if she wants to stay. And then Hannah hesitates, and then it shows two parallel universes of what would happen if she chose to stay and go home with Ethan. Not home with him, but like accept his ride, or go home earlier with her friend. Which just sounds so interesting. And then there is After I Do, which sounds like it's gonna be a little bit more sad, but also, I don't know. I feel like her books are always sad with like an uplifting part of it. This is like Lauren and Ryan met and fell in love in college, and then a decade later their marriage reaches a breaking point. So now they come up with a plan to take a year off from each other, and I think we just follow Lauren to like how she confronts her own ideas about monogamy and marriage. What does it mean to love? What are you willing to fight for? And is there a new road to happily ever after? Which also sounds so interesting. So I think I'm going to change my answer to After I Do, because then we're also going to get a book off of my 2026 TBR. And I do love me some Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I can't picture me not loving this. Good morning. It is in fact the next morning, and I do have a little sneak peek for the crochet projects I'm currently working on. I finally got the yarn I ordered I don't know if I said that in this video, that I ordered yarn because I was feeling burned out with crochet. So this isn't all today. Literally this, like from here and up, is from what I've done today. But I will figure that out at some other point because I officially feel ready to sit down and read for a little bit. I have no idea what time it is, actually. Let me check because I do have school today, but it is only 9 a.m. and I don't have to leave for school until 11:15. I tried to make a hot matcha for the first time, and I don't know if it was successful or not. I would say that was successful. I mean, most of it just tastes like hot oat milk, but that's also what most of it is. I did not get that far into this book yesterday. I don't know what happened. The OC got really exciting, so I just kept watching that instead, but we did make it 16 pages into this, which I think is just like 2 chapters. So there's not really that much to say. I don't honestly remember what I said in that like kind of chaotic clip of me deciding on which book to read because I felt like I talked for a while there, but it is about a married couple, Lauren and Ryan, and they met when they were like in college, so like 19, got married really young, and now a lot of years later they're starting to feel, I don't know how to like put it, burned out. The back just says their marriage reaches a breaking point, and then they decide to go do like sort of like a challenge almost, where it's like a full year without any contact to each other. And then I think we follow Lauren because it feels like a Taylor Jenkins Reid thing to do, to just focus on the woman, which we love a little women's fiction. And it's just like what she gets up to in this year away from her husband and like all that. And it actually sounds really interesting. And like knowing Taylor Jenkins Reid, this is going to be so interesting. It's probably gonna have some sad moments, but I have a feeling it's also gonna be like, I don't know. I have a feeling it's also gonna be like very life affirming. I just feel like her books always have this like life lesson in them, and I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be cool because it's kind of gonna be this woman trying to like learn who she is without her husband. And when you get married really young, I think sometimes it's easy to kind of forget who you are, just like you, not you and him, but just you. And I think it's an important lesson to learn that you should, even in a marriage, maybe you don't need like a year apart to figure it out, but you know, like you should have time, even in like a young marriage, to figure out who you are and just you, if that makes any sense. And I kind of hope that this book touches on that, even though it's not like I'm about to be married at all. I'm 20 and I'm definitely not getting married anytime soon. But like, I feel like it could also be fun to read as someone who, I feel like I know myself very well, specifically because I've been like single all my life, so I've never had someone else to like, I don't know, to like fit my life in with. Yeah. I don't even know if this book is going to touch on that, but it's good for me to say that that is something I wish it will end up touching on. But it is a short book, and I am hoping to read for a little bit this morning and a little bit more later tonight. We're officially going to get back into the reading. I know I did not read at all yesterday, even though it was the perfect day for reading. Don't know why that didn't happen, but today is officially the last day. I don't dare to say the last day this year, because actually that would also be stupid because there's winter later this year again, but it's the last day in a while where it's going to be below freezing outside. I don't even know if that makes sense for like Americans and stuff like that, because it's like below freezing in Fahrenheit would be like almost to the death kind of cold, but below freezing here is just like when the snow is gonna stay on the ground, and I cannot wait for the snow to be gone. I'm so sorry. Like I think snow can be romantic. I think it's more romantic in December than it is in late February. yeah. I'm ready for this. The sun is out right now, but I can also see clouds, but it looks like the clouds are like moving away and the sun is moving over here, so that could be good. And it's blue skies. And like I said, last day with below freezing, like only below freezing, and then tomorrow I think it's like between 0 and like -1 or something. And then slowly it moves up, and then in a few days it's actually gonna be like 6 degrees. Okay, so I guess I'm not really done with my yapping yet, because if you guys saw like my last weekend vlog, you will know I was talking in that one about how I was feeling really weird, and like I wasn't feeling in a bad mood the entire weekend. It was definitely when winter was starting to get to me and I was feeling a little bit bad and weird mentally. My voice is disappearing. Great. Anyway, I think it's funny how quickly moods can change, because then in this vlog, I've just been in such a great mood. And like so much of it is because I think I said it in like the review of the other book, that it made me feel like myself again. Like I was reading a book in 3 days. I was reading so much. I've been like keeping my screen time almost below 3 hours every single day, which I do want to keep doing. I do know I film on my phone, but it doesn't count to like screen time, also because I'm not like staring at it while doing it. And like instead of looking at the screen, I've been doing all of my hobbies. I've been watching a great show, I've been reading some great books, I've been crocheting again, and I just think that like talks to the entire, like what I was saying with the book, with like the knowing who you are, and like that is who I am, and when that's not who I am, that's who I like want to be again. And like, yeah. Like, and then I have these like days where I'm like, well, maybe I want to be like a party girl again, but then I'm like, no you don't. Because like this is what makes me happy. Like sitting right here this morning in my blue pretty bedding while watching the sun slowly rising, drinking a hot matcha with a great book after I just spent the whole morning crocheting, and like getting excited to read. I know it feels like I'm putting it off because I'm talking to you guys. Mostly I am, because I want to finish this one before I start reading, because I can't read with one hand. But like I'm not putting it off because I don't want to read. And for a while there, that was my problem. For like most of February, my problem was that I didn't want to read. And then we read The Nightingale, and I loved that book. But like while I was reading that, I was still feeling really weird mentally. And then I just feel like All That's Left in the World was like such a happy book. Even though it had its sad moments, it was also a very happy book, and I feel like that was what I needed. And it got me thinking the other day that maybe that's low-key why I've been in like a romance slump for like the past year. I haven't read that many romances. I've still read romances, but like it's like with an actual slump where like every once in a while you pick up a book and read it, and then you'll be like, oh, I'm back, and then you won't want to read it again. But like I think it might have been because I spent all of last year low-key depressed as fuck. I am thinking I want to do a video actually on the whole romance thing, and maybe try and see if I can like rekindle it. But what I was saying with it was that I think maybe it was because I was low-key depressed last year, and like I feel like for some people you read romance and happy books when you're depressed because it makes you like forget that you're depressed. But I feel like for me, it just made me not want to read happy books. I mean, obviously I read happy books last year. It's not that I didn't at all read happy books, but I don't know why. I feel like maybe those two things were like linked, because it's like then I read All That's Left in the World while I was in a great mood and I loved it. And ever since then, I've been thinking about reading romance books again. So I am thinking about also, just to like push the spring reset, that maybe after this video, I will film like a trying to rekindle my love for romances, and we will, like, I've picked out a few, made a list of a few romance books that I think I could really like, and then maybe we'll go through some of those. It's a really great feeling, and I feel like I just really wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like a lot of the videos of me last year was just, like, I feel like I filmed some really great I filmed some really great vlogs and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, but I am very excited to get back to being who I feel like I was last year at like spring and summertime, if that makes any sense. I feel like I was, again, a really long chat, but I feel like it's very nice when you're watching somebody to like know what kind of like state they're in. Cheers to way more happy go-getter reading vlogs and vlogs in general of me actually being happy. Because I have something to do with my life and I am falling in love with all my hobbies again. Now let's read. I look insane right now. Also, it is really gray outside, but it's not 0 degrees or below, it's actually above. So I'm kind of just waiting for the snow to catch up and start melting, but it's gray and rainy, and that's just the way it's gonna be for the next couple of days. But honestly, it feels okay because it's still part of the like transitioning into the spring sort of weather. And I finished, after I do this morning, I think the last time we talked was when I had that very long yapping session, which is the only thing from this video I haven't edited yet, except for what I'm filming right now, because it's so long and I'm like, how much of it do I want in it? But I'm gonna try and keep as much as possible in it because I feel like it was such a great little yap session to have in a video because it was such a happy yap session. I ended up writing like 3 pages in my journal about it afterwards too, so it was a great day, all in all. But the last time we talked was only 2 days ago when I was like here. So this book took me 3 days to read, I want to say. I can't figure out if that is correct, but it didn't take me that long. At least, like, I feel like I read, like, actually I know I read about this much of it in 2 days. And I really enjoyed this book. It's not top to the James read for me, but it does have some of those aspects that I love from her. I mean, the writing will always get me a little bit. I do think I've landed on a 3.75 star rating. I was gonna give it a 4 stars just based off my feelings right as it ended, but then I looked back at some of the clips I was looking at the clip from that day when I was in a great mood, and I feel like some of the stuff I said I really wanted, I didn't feel like we really got. And like, I do guess it kind of depends on what you're reading this for. I guess I was hoping for a little bit less of a romantic aspect and more of a women's fiction aspect, if that makes sense. It's not because it was hugely romantic like that, but I just feel like the focus was very much on the romance and the marriage and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, I'm not in a point in my life where marriage is something I'm personally really thinking a lot about or anything. If anything, I think I would have related more to the sisters' story than I did to Lauren's story. because the sister was more like single, and they had this entire chat about how okay she was with being single and how she was like maybe she'd be okay if she didn't date anyone until she was 40 and stuff like that. I need water. So I do think I still gotta give this so many points for the writing style, some of the quotes in this, and the fact that I do need to give it credit for the fact that just because the story didn't like feel I don't know how to say it, you know, like I didn't relate to it, but just because I didn't relate to the story doesn't mean this wasn't a beautiful story, and it doesn't mean this couldn't help people at points in their lives. I 100% would recommend reading this if you're maybe, I would say, a little bit older than me, or like if you're my age but you're like in an established relationship or marriage is actually on your mind. But I do still feel like this was such a great story, heartwarming and sad all the way through, but like bittersweet, sort of sad. I was gonna see if I could see, one of my favorite ones was she wrote into this advice column, and one of the only things I'm gonna read from this entire book is actually one of the last pages, but it's not a spoiler at all. But the best line I've ever heard is like, "I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's a lesson I learned by those who have faced the most miserable of tragedies, and it's a secret that I suspect you yourself already know. The sun will always rise. Always. The sun rises the next day after mothers lose their babies, after men lose their wives, after countries lose war. The sun will rise no matter what pain we encounter. No matter how much we believe the world to be over, the sun will rise. So you can go around assessing love by whether or not the sun rises. The sun doesn't care about love. It just cares about rising." And I don't know why that was just so beautiful. Like, that's just like a bite of what I think Taylor Jenkins Reid does so well. And it's why this book could never be like less than a 3.75 star. But I do still think I have my like holdbacks about it. It wasn't that personal to me. And therefore it also can't be more than a 3.75 star. And I think this is my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book ever I haven't given like a 4.5 or above. I think even I actually think even the novella that I read in December, I ended up giving 4 stars. So like I've given all of her books 4 stars or above. But I just don't feel like this resonated with me. I feel like her books normally always have some aspect that really resonates with me. And this had maybe like a few lines that really resonated with me. So I feel like I said a lot and yet said nothing in that clip, and I looked crazy while doing it, but I'm so happy. I was just editing this vlog, like I said earlier today. I just need to put this clip in and finish editing that, and then this video is ready for next Saturday. It's Saturday today, so this video doesn't have to go up until in a week. I'm also surprised, like, I know I had a whole yap about it, so we're not gonna get into it, but I am so happy that you guys got to experience also my mood and what I went through mentally this week, because I feel like it's such like to me that is just what spring is. And I know every single time winter comes around, I'm like, oh, I don't get depressed in the winter time, and I don't, but like I feel like everybody feels it a little bit, but I'm also always like, oh, I'm not the type who gets depressed in the winter. I actually thrive better when it's colder than when it's super hot, blah, blah, blah. And then spring comes around, and spring kind of reminds me of what it actually feels like to be truly happy. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so I wasn't truly happy throughout any of the winter except for like Christmas. And I feel like it's such like it's a basic thing. We all feel it, like January and February. Shit months. No offense to like people who love Valentine's Day or whose birthday are in those months, but they are hardcore months to get through just because of the weather. And it's not like, it doesn't have to be a seasonal depression thing. It's literally a science thing that we do feel more sad when there's no sun and it's gray and cold outside than when the sun is shining and it's green and colorful everywhere. So I'm gonna leave this video at that because I I don't need to go on another yap about how happy I am and how much I love spring, but thank you so much for coming along with me for the first episode of the shelf sessions. Like I have pointed out, it is the first episode of many. I don't know if I'm gonna do like an episode monthly or if it's just gonna be like a I'm feeling like it, so we're gonna put out an episode sort of thing. But yeah, I'm really happy about how this video worked out. And I think while finding myself with that, I've also found myself again with the content creation, which I've also was in a little bit of a rut with. I was just in a life rut with everything. And I feel like it just sort of worked itself out throughout this week. And I love that. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the first episode of the shelf sessions, do not forget to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your bell notifications so you get notified when the next episode drops. And I have more stuff coming up to celebrate spring, so I hope you guys will stick around for that because it would mean the world to me. Any type of support means the world to me. So with that said, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.